I haven't been to the city in quite some time. The last time I can remember being here was when I was just 11 years old. During the final day before my sister, mother, and I moved away, we went exploring around downtown. I walked around all the museums and went to a couple of cafes to get a final taste of this wonderful place I grew up around. I remember not enjoying that day at all, however, due to the fact that the day before my mother just finished signing all the paperwork to sell the house, and after we finished moving all of our belongings. We weren't allowed to pack any of my father's things, since my mother was too emotional at the time and couldn't bear seeing things that reminded her of him, so we just left all of it with my grandmother. I was too emotionally exhausted to be looking at all the intricacies of the city. After my father's death, I had to go see a psychiatrist since I was so emotionally distressed by all the change, and I still see one to this day. The image of my father burning alive still haunts my dreams. I didn't want to move, but there was only so much money given for my father's life insurance claim that we had no choice but to sell the house, since we couldn't afford to live there anymore. Being a firefighter not only took my father's life away, but it took away my family's home. If only it paid more. If only.
Now that I'm older, I finally get to enjoy the beauties of this great city. Its monuments, parks, buildings, restaurants, and many other things once more. Sadly, I only have an hour to sightsee before I have to go to the longest meeting that my tech company has ever held. It's no big deal though, since I only have to present our prototype for the line of cell phones. Hopefully our company can get Verizon on board with this. While I was daydreaming, I realized that the small town where my childhood house used to be wasn't that far off, only about a 20-minute drive. In my head, I was debating whether or not to go visit it. However, every time I think about that house, it reminded me of the tragedy that was made of my father. Also, what if who lives there now doesn't welcome me, or calls the police because I want to come in? All I wanted was to see the house, but internally I felt like the people living there would see it as odd. It was getting dark hastily as daylight savings time has ended. I had to catch a plane later to go back home, so I decided to see the house before I regret not going later. I planned on how I would act and behave and say nothing but the truth to these people on the car ride to the place. I parked right across the street from the house, walked up, rang the doorbell, and hoped that everything would go smoothly.